Thank you for joining us here at KEXP, listener-powered radio at 90.3 FM in Seattle, 92.7 FM in the Bay Area, and streaming at KEXP.org and on the KEXP apps. I'm Cheryl Waters, down here in the KEXP studios. It's Jess Cornelius. Welcome.
Thank you.
We're so excited to have you here and this wonderful band caretaking a beautiful new record. And let's start with some music and then we'll chat.
Yeah.
It's Jess Cornelius live on KEXP.
This is for you that thinks you've fallen. I can see that's not true. You're on the ledge just looking down at the ground, so look somewhere else. Turn it around, back to the mainland, full of your loved ones and strangers who love you. I can't do it for you, but I will be here. I can't do it for you. This is for you, the one
You're listening to Jess Cornelius live on KEXP. It's Jess Cornelius here in the KEXP studios. Songs from the new album, Caretaking. Little swaparoo on the instruments. There go Michael and Paul. Ooh, saxophone.
I can still hear her voice in my head. You'll never get over it. Still see the minivan parked in the sun. You'll have to find a way to live with what you've done. Have to find a way to live with what you've done. Every story like this starts the same. Sun rose up in the morning. Lily in the mirror making a face. Every moment now is endlessly replayed. Every moment will be endlessly replayed. Pray you never have to learn just how much someone can have to believe that there's a light. Have to believe the surgeon found a way to sleep at night, and that the joy when finally arrives is crystallized, like grief has its own way of letting in love. A good surgeon's work is never done. Flesh off her memory, she peels off her gloves. And then the panic and an icy cold rush. The rest is just too much. The rest is just much too much for me to imagine. Pray you never have to learn just how much someone can have to believe that there's a light. Have to believe the surgeon found a way to sleep at night, and that the joy when it finally arrives is crystallized, like grief has its own way of letting in
Ah, so nice. Jess Cornelius here in the KEXP studios. Jess Cornelius live on KEXP, the new album Caretaking. That was fantastic. Thank you so much. Really, really appreciate that.
Thank you. Thank you.
Sounding so good. Jess, you started working on your newest album, Caretaking, a few years ago, it sounds like, and you said there was a lot of change happening in your life. Can you talk a little bit about how this album came together and what inspired the songs?
Yeah, I had already started writing it just after my daughter was born. And she's 4 now. And so it speaks to how long it took to get this album in the world. But yeah, so I had already started writing this record. She was born, my relationship with her dad was kind of falling apart. She was still a baby. So it was kind of, yeah, I wrote it during this period of a lot of unknown, basically. And, you know, and I don't think it was like, when I look back on it, it doesn't feel like a bad time. I don't know. It's just, you know, a lot of questioning. And there's also a lot of songs on the record that are really just about things that aren't anything to do with that, you know, just about the responsibility of like suddenly having this person in the world, or, you know, thinking about climate change and, you know, apocalyptic thoughts. And then just like positive kind of like self-bolstering type songs, you know. So
Well,
it runs the gamut.
As you're saying, there are themes of loss and fear and grand scale catastrophe on this record, but it's also balanced with hopefulness, I feel like. And can you talk a bit about navigating that balance both within your life and your songwriting?
Yeah, I think it's just not thinking too much about the future, you know, like I think a lot of it does get sort of filtered through the songwriting into a place that I can kind of process it mentally. You know, like it's almost like a shield. Like once it ends up in a song, it's diluted somehow. It's kind of, it's not all in my head, just like creating all this, you know, like anxiety. So there's still lots of anxiety, but yeah, I guess that's why people do creative stuff, right? Is just to kind of get it all out of their head so they don't go crazy.
You said that Back to Mainland is one of your favorite songs on the record, and I was so happy that you kicked the show off today with that. It's one of my favorite as well, and sonically it is just got so much going on, and the music hits me way before the lyrics do. I get totally engulfed in it, and then at every listen I find a little pearl more and more and dig into the lyrics. But what makes that one your favorite? What was it like making that song?
Well, that was a really fun process. I went on tour opening for Ty Segall in Northern California, and that's when I met Mikal Cronin, who's there. And so we hadn't met before, and we really sort of got into each other's songwriting and music and decided we would start working. I had already started demoing some songs, but I needed I wanted another person to come in and add some things and a different perspective. And with this one, I demoed it and I had, you know, what I thought was the basis of it. And then Mikal sent it back. I think he was away at the time on tour, and he sent it back with these like the mellotron strings that Paul was playing just now. And I feel like that addition just took it to this other place that I hadn't thought of, and it also informed the kind of outro, like what we did with the outro. And I just, you know, that song, it's like it's dear to my heart, you know, lyrically, but also it was just, for me, it was one of those times when you're like, oh, because it doesn't always happen like this, where you're like, oh, this is how I want this song to end up, and it ended up exactly like better than how I imagined it, you know, and that doesn't always happen. So
it's a great song. And you and Mikal ended up producing the record together,
That's
I think.
Right. Yeah, we recorded it at most of it at Michael's house. So, yeah.
And adding your mad sax sounds to it. What was it like working together?
It was really exciting because we met, and it was like a really exciting time because I was very into her music, and I hadn't really worked with somebody on that level before of kind of producing or like sitting together and arranging, and Yeah, it was really good. Like her songs are so great and inspiring, and it was fun to like. I think I'm very arrangement brained, so it's just fun to dump that kind of stuff on somebody else's music and work together to shape it. And
We did also argue a fair bit.
we argued a lot.
I'm curious to know what that looks like between the two
We
of you.
argued a lot. We were just in my little apartment,
Yeah.
battling,
Getting moody and grumpy.
battling.
Yeah, give us a little recreation right now.
That was a leaf blower. Don't even start with me, Jess.
Yeah.
Just kidding. Yeah, it was a long process and kind of meandering in good and bad ways, and I can't believe we finally finished it.
Well, we were only working on weekends because I would have my kid during the week and then
Yeah,
she'd be with her
of course.
dad on weekends. And so we would just, that was all the time we had. We would just make it on the weekends. So
Jess is very busy
yeah.
raising a child and living life. But yeah, I was very honored to be involved and folded in and endlessly thankful, and I'm still here, I guess. So that's cool.
Well, it is a beautiful record. Jess, you moved to Los Angeles from Melbourne, Australia back, I think you said in 2018, and you were working on your first album, Distance, your first solo album then. And it sounds like you viewed that maybe just as a big adventure and not a permanent thing. And now it sounds like you're pretty firmly planted in Los Angeles and hopefully feeling pretty at home there. And I'm curious if living in California or America in general has changed anything about your songwriting or your perspective on making music. Certainly there's a big community there, although Melbourne has a pretty big community as well.
Yeah, Melbourne has a great community. I was really surprised actually to find the community I did in LA, and a lot of that can be attributed to Stephen Urgo. He was one of the first people I actually met in LA, and through him I met Paul. And there's a big Philly contingent in LA, which was great. And I met sort of Mikal like separate to that. So. Yeah, I was surprised that at the community I found because, everyone was like, oh, LA, everyone's like flaky and spread out. And, but it wasn't my experience. It's spread out, but it wasn't flaky. And in terms of how it's affected my songwriting, I think it's just more, I think the US there's more opportunity here to have a long career that, maybe you don't make money or anything, but it's still kind of, it's okay to just do it for life. It feels like in some other places there's a little bit more of an expiration date. I feel like the US, just because there's more people and there's more of an audience for any kind of weird stuff you want to produce, so it leads to like a little more longevity. And so my kind of approach to making music as a career is sort of changed a little, and just sort of like, I'll do it forever. But the scope of it might change,
You mentioned Stephen, who I should mention is on drums here today, and Paul on guitar and keys. It's sounding great. And we already met Mikal, who's no stranger to the KEXP airwaves and studios. You grew up in New Zealand, and it sounds like you're pretty close to your family, even though you haven't lived near them in a very long time. What was your childhood like? Were you surrounded by art and music and nature and...
To a degree, definitely art and music. My mum's an artist. She's a ceramicist, and so we went to a lot of art galleries and things, which was great. I complained all the time about it, and they also we didn't have a television, that classic hippie parent thing. So we listened to a lot of music, and so that part of it, yeah, I'm really grateful for. And they're also very big into hiking and mountain biking. So yeah, there was a lot of all of those things that you've mentioned. But I also, grew up in kind of like this small town that called Ngaruahia that had, a lot of unemployment, and it wasn't an exotic place to grow up at all. But then, it was great for what it was. And then I moved to Wellington, and that was definitely more kind of cultured and. Yeah, but it wasn't. Yeah, it was just kind of a childhood with like a lot of bush in the backyard, which is really nice. Coming from like when you come to LA, you're like, oh yeah, that's not everyone has a bush in their backyard. So,
Well, obviously, being a parent yourself has been hugely impactful on your life, and your songs very intimately detail your life with a refreshing candor. And it's not everyone who's writing about parenthood in their songs. What has it been like to share these songs with people and perform them live? I imagine they speak to so many.
I hope so. Yeah, I get different, reactions, obviously mostly positive because other ones people will say to you, to your face. I did get one review that was like, saying that my lyrics were too specific and kind of could, exclude people. So that was an interesting perspective. But for me, yeah, I just, like I said earlier, I just kind of do it because it's something I'm trying to kind of figure out or get out in my head. So I don't really think about it after it ends up in the song. I'm not kind of thinking, like there were some lyrics, there's a song Desire on the record that felt when I was writing it, like it felt so exposing. It was like one of the like most painful songs that I've written in terms of like what I was putting on the page, and it felt really brave. But then you just forget. It just does that. You don't even register it after a while, what you're saying or singing. So
It's interesting that comment you made about things being too specific, and you hear artists all the time talk about making music and keeping them somewhat vague so that people can put themselves in the music, which is wonderful, and that happens a lot. But I'm also interested, I don't have to do that with every song. I want to hear about what an artist that I like and what's going on in their life and looking what their perspective is. So that's an interesting statement that
Yeah.
person made, and just one person's opinion.
exactly, yeah.
I love the music. The new album is called Caretaking. Jess, it's so wonderful to have you and your band here today. Thanks for making the time.
Thanks for having us. Yeah.
It's Jess Cornelius here in the KEXP studios with the new album called Caretaking. It's absolutely wonderful, and you can discover great music like this every single day on KEXP. Learn more about us at kexp.org. We are listener powered, and you can make a gift in any amount, anytime to support great music discovery and live performances. Subscribe to our YouTube channel. You'll get notification every time we launch a new video of a performance just as wonderful as this one. Once again, a big thank you. It's Jess Cornelius live on KEXP Seattle.
Discover new music at listener-powered KEXP.org.